Sumathi, uh, he was saying that he was the one who taught you cycling, he taught you so many things, and that for you he was never old. They say that the loss of a guru creates a very traumatic period in a student's life. Did it happen to you?
Yeah, I mean, until recently, till I found my present guru, Srimati Aditi Upadhyaya, and it was my journey of searching for gurus. I felt totally orphaned, literally left midway through without any support. So I felt orphaned. I felt somewhat on streets. My life changed. My direction, my understanding, everything changed. And I mean, like, I literally in this whole time that from 1999 till 2013, it's not like one single day I have not sung. It's not like one single day I have not learned anything or any such thing. But a lot of people's misunderstanding is that I have stopped music because I just got I won't say diverted. I just let myself be in almost whatever I felt like being in. But that was complete. That itself was the journey of search. Which kind of ended last year in 2013 March. I started learning music again, and then I'm like more anchored now. I feel like, okay, fine, I have this focus. I know exactly what I want to do. It was not like I was not with focus, but then I know more clearly now.
But in between you have had other gurus also.
Yeah, it was not. It was there, like, definitely.
Yeah. But even had a guru in Bombay.
Yeah. But I mean, not to discount on them, but it was not an experience like Ram Raoji. So, in fact, I learned from Yashwant Bua Joshi in Bombay. And then for a month, I just went to... This was the most beautiful experience that I actually went to Bala Saheb Poochwale for a month. And then I stayed with him for 1.5 weeks. I learned, and then then we both figured out that it's difficult to do this from Bangalore to Gwalior. It's going to be very difficult traveling and all that. But then I really enjoyed learning under him. And Yashwant Bua Joshi sir's approach itself is very different. Like, he would write everything in Hindi in my book, and I can't read Hindi, nor do I have the practice of writing. Ram Raoji had prepared me in such a manner that I'm like an oral grabbing box. I would grab anything that passes by. He had prepared my mind and my listening capacity in that manner. And here, suddenly it shifted from listening to reading, and I'm like lost.
Like those notations were...
I never wanted notations to be written. And I didn't know that, people write notations like this. So, but if I hear something, I can notate.
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah. So, and then... after that I went back to Bangalore, learned from Lalit Rao for some time. That was a little problematic because she was expecting that I should be married, have children, and somewhat not really a direct pressure, but she was talking to my mother saying, why is she roaming around like this? Why does she have to do these things? Why is she getting into things that... I mean, because at that point of time I was also volunteering with a women's rights organization, mostly working on domestic violence cases and so on. So these are not, I don't think this is the way you should think about music and all that. So we had a difference of opinion. Suddenly then she said, one day I'm going for some tour, I'll be back and then I'll call you. She never called me back. So what will I do? Suddenly she also dropped. Then I went to Garud sir. Garud sir was like really interesting. There it was more of like grinding me back to my practice. So what Garud sir would do is like sing sa for 5 hours. Sing... it's the same like Ram Raoji, so it was more similar. Though I didn't learn new ragas from him, I was like more learning the practice methods. So then he also became old, and then by then Nirodi sir had shifted to Bangalore. So with Nirodi sir, it was like a fresh lease of life. So he's in Bangalore, I can learn, it was interesting, it was going on very nicely. But then he shifted to Mysore, so they again break. And in between all this, it was very strange the way I met this guru of mine, Aswati Tirunal Ramavarma.
You learned Carnatic music from her.
So on a dating site, while I was looking for some women, I figured out one line which said Kishore Kumar, the best singer, because I have always loved Kishore Kumar. If I always make this statement among my friends, saying that if at all there's a man that I would get married to, that's Kishore Kumar. That otherwise I don't want men in my life, kind of thing. So somebody said that, and I was like flabbergasted, thinking, oh my God, dating side people are talking about Kishore Kumar. Yes, fine, I should find out. Then suddenly he started reading, it spoke about Jasraj and Balmurli and then somebody else, and it was like stunning. Okay, fine. Then I got into a chat, and then slowly I figured out this person is a musician. And when he said his name is Aswati Tirunal Ramavarma, I'm like, I asked him, so you are something to do with Swati Tirunal? He said, yeah, I'm great-grand nephew of Swati Tirunal. I had a heart attack. Then I said, okay, fine. And he asked me, so what are you? Then I said, I'm a student of Hindustani classical music. This is what it is. So he asked me, do you listen to Carnatic music? I said, of course I do, because I love Carnatic music. And why I love Carnatic music is more about, not about the philosophy around Carnatic music, because it's all around religion, which I'm definitely opposed to. Or what I like is the structures that they build in the raga, which is most beautiful. So I said, if I want to learn, but I want to learn only the ragas. I don't want all that tala, the beatings and all those things. So I really don't want that. So he said, definitely. And then since we met on a dating site, it was like I slightly feared to tell him that, sorry, I'm really not into men. But then what he did was, he said, you come to Chennai, I will take you to Balamurali sir's house, and then we can meet. So I went to Chennai, and he paid the flight ticket for me. So I was like, what is happening in my life? Fine. So again, then I went to Chennai, I met him, and then we went to Balamurali sir's house. I sang there, Balamurali sir sang for me, and then we had a long chat and all that. Then we went back to his hotel room, and there we chatted seriously in terms of music and all that. Then I expressed that this is the deal, I want to learn. So I said, fine, but I don't think we will be able to learn regularly. Then I think after that, in a span of 2 years, I had 5 classes or something.
How many ragas?
I didn't learn more ragas at all. One was Dvijavanti, I learned. Then I learned Kalyani Alapana.
Achha.
And then I learnt that Lavangi, which was composed by Balamurali Krishna sir.
Achha.
Only these 3 ragas. But the style of Alapana was what I was wanting to learn, and he taught me that, so it was interesting. But later I couldn't continue.
Yeah, because Carnatic Alap is very different from Hindustani, isn't it? The way they structure it is very different.
And it's like, and his style was also not like others, that the moment you start, like within 5 minutes you will get into speed and go on singing the speed thing. No, but whereas, like for example in Dvijavanti, there was one composition that he taught me, which is something like this. I've forgotten the composition, but I'll sing the raga.
Yeah.
Not much different, no? Ta-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na, So in that manner, the composition goes. So the alapana has to be. So not even the paluku, he used to stress that there is no need to give unnecessary paluku where it is not needed. You have to choose where you want to give.
But if you sang similar raga in Hindustani, how would it be?
Re, na, Ra na ta na.
There is a vast difference. There is a vast difference. But I can understand why you wanted to learn only Alap in Carnatic. Because the Alap does have some tear up.
Yeah.
Whereas the Kirtanais don't have that.
Yeah.
That's why. There's something very interesting, Sumathi. When you sang Geri Geri, I noticed that you translated it into Kannada.
No,
When did you start doing this?
no, it was not my idea. So I have a friend called S.R. Ramakrishna who's a editor, and he's also a music director, and he plays harmonium. So usually for my concerts, he accompanies me on harmonium. We're great friends, and I like his music compositions.
In your concert, you have harmonium.
Yeah, I generally sing with harmonium and tabla in my concerts.
No tanpura.
With tanpura,
With
of course.
tanpura. Acha.
Of course, with tanpura.
You have tanpura and harmonium and tabla.
Yeah. So, and he is a very good music director and composer. So he got this idea. Like I was casually singing in his house for. Like I usually go to his house. He comes somewhere and meets me and all that. We're very good friends. So when I was singing some thumris and all that, he said, "I feel like translating." I said, "It's a crap idea. Just leave it." So because I said I can't think of this such beautiful words being translated into an harsh Kannada, because like then I made a bad translation. I said, then he said, you just don't know translation. You leave it to me. I'll do it. And that's how he translated Gheri Gheri Ai, and then he translated Kafi Varni, which is even more beautiful.
But it's very nicely translated.
He is a very brilliant translator.
He says, very nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah, so and then when I was convinced of his translation, I agreed to sing.
Acha.
So that's when we did a series of recordings actually. So we did Kafi, Pilu, and then we did this one. Nat Bhairav, and then we did actually we did several things in it, and one of the thing was also to sing the Sufi ghazal of Mansoor, which is a stunning ghazal. It is a very beautiful ghazal which I composed, and he did the background music for it. So in this process, like when it comes to composing and all, Ram and I are like very good friends, and we share that kind of critiquing each other's thing. And then he is very sensitive, and in his compositions we can see that. So this was one experiment with him.
Yeah, when you do that while performing, how does the audience take this Kannada translation?
I've not performed in front of audience.
Oh.
This was just for recording. So the idea of this thing was one that people can try and understand the simple language of Thumri, in the sense like how in a colloquial language which is sweet and soft and beautiful, you can still make poetry. So in Kannada also we've tried to retain that simple words of Kannada, not complicating it at all. So one is about that. Second thing is that it's what we tried to do is like, this was mainly aimed at people buying CDs or for long rides, or we called it lounge music. So if we are having some party, in the background, instead of having piano or like lift kind of music, we can better have this. So those who want to hear, they can. Otherwise, they can be. So it has that feel. It creates an ambience, and there is also interesting stuff in it. So when you're going for a long ride, you can actually listen. So it lasts more than 10 minutes. So we had actually compositions going up to 18 minutes and all that. So it lasts more than 3 minutes. You don't have to change and all that. So the idea was like this. That was Ram's idea.
So you have recorded it?
Yeah, we've recorded it. And there is a series of things which we don't know what to do because we don't have producers. So we are just sitting with it. That's it.
Suma, why don't you sing that Mansoor ghazal?
I remember a little of it, so I'll sing.
Yeah, whatever you remember of it.
पर लगाता जा, भस्म तन पर लगाता जा। अगर है शौक मिलने का तो हर दम लो लगाता जा। अगर है शौक मिलने का तो हर दम लो लगाता जा। जला कर खुद नुमाई को भस्म तन पर लगाता जा। जला कर खुद नुमाई को भस्म तन पर लगाता जा। अगर है शौक मिलने का तो हर दम लो लगाता जा। न रख रोजा न रख रोजा न जा न रख रोजा वज़ू का तोड़ दे कूजा। किताबें डाल पानी में भस्म तन पर लगाता जा। अगर है शौक।
Very good. Really nice. And the meaning is also so nice. Isn't it? It's very touching.
And at one point it even says that, you know, पकड़ तू दस्त फिरस्तों का गुलाम उनका कहता जा. He says, and it's so beautiful. Then शराबे शौक लगाता जा. And then in the end he says, कहे मंसूर, कहे मंसूर, मस्ताना 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 मस्ताना, कहे मंसूर मस्ताना. I've forgotten, sorry. So
okay.
basically it talks about दुई का छोड़कर पूजा, go and become get the addiction of love is what he says.
It's basically saying break all the rules.
Yes.
It's very nice and it's very typically Sufi.
Yeah.
Where they didn't want to give any particular direction for anything.
Yeah.
It's very beautifully written. Now, during these things, while you were learning, you also did graduation and masters and everything. You did masters in communication, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't say that I did it because I just completed 1 year and then I finished my internship and then quit. That was when my teacher Ramraoji passed away, and then I had to start coming to Bombay every month to learn and all that.
Yeah.
So when I asked in the university that saying that I can't attend everyday classes, I will just come 1 week I'll miss in a month. They refused and they made a huge issue about it. So
attendance
I quit.
And all that.
Attendance and all that. So I quit. But this was a master's program. A lot of people do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they had to stop me from doing it. And then I withdrew from the course and then. What I really wanted to study was not the topics that I ended up studying. I was very keen on studying history. For me, what was the most interesting thing was history of music, Indian music. Because what I read in books and what I heard from Ramraoji was entirely different. So what I learned, one thing is that musicologists tell a different history, musicians tell a different history. So I really wanted to go behind the musician's history. And even till today, like after that, for several of my works, I've gone and interviewed musicians, spoken to musicians, worked with them. Worked with them in a sense like, just be with them, record, talk. Sometimes not even record, just talk about the history and note it down. So those things were like something which was building up the idea of history of music in me. And I really wanted to work on two things. The two ideas. One is that I really didn't want a lot of musicians dying in poverty.
Yeah.
Second thing is that this idea of history of Indian music. So what I really wanted, I clubbed the two. And it was the time when I hadn't gotten into activism and so on. So I had because at that point of time I knew all these music sabhas in Bangalore, and I suggested one thing to them, saying that why don't you start an institute where musicians, the younger crowd musicians, will go to the older musicians and collect these histories, and we write that histories in our own languages, and we'll also collect their music, and we will build that as a serious project. Let it be funded by crowdfunding kind of thing, because so then musicians can get a salary. You need not do it like monthly, like everyday job. You do monthly, 1 week if you work, you get some part-time salary at least, so that the musician will not die of poverty. Tomorrow the children of the musicians will not sit worrying, because at that point of time there was this tabla player called Prahalad Mokashi or something, who suddenly overnight he's out, and his wife and children are on streets. So, and then also what is happening in my guru's life, that also influenced me to think in this manner and all that. This music sabha showed some interest. So I wrote the entire proposal, like wrote the whole idea of how to work on it. They just kept quiet. And at that point of time, I didn't know how, that we could actually take funds and do it.
Yeah. But actually, in Chennai, not exactly helping musicians, but there was a group that was started to record history of music. The Sampradaya was started in Chennai.
Okay.
But again, because of funding, it failed.
Yeah.
Because apart from collecting this music, you have to preserve it.
Yeah.
How to digitize it and preserve it, all those things
Yeah.
are there. So it became difficult.
Yeah.
Now it's like some way, but not functioning very well, I heard.
Yeah.
But it was started with great ambition.
Yeah.
Because that time the great grandson of Veena Dhanammal Shankaran was there.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a huge history
Yeah.
of his family.
Yeah.
So he was very enthusiastic about this Sampradaya. But these things don't work, because what happens is we are caught in all this developmental process where they feel that all this knowledge is not part of development.
Yeah.
That's where you and I are caught. But when did you get into activism, Sumo?
So when I started coming to Bombay, I had to, then the economy of music hit me. So I had to pay a fees here, and then I had to pay for myself for the travel. So, and Amma, but again, they were not in that position to pay for all these things. So I then started working as a documentation person in a women's rights organization. At the same time, I was also part of their domestic violence training programs with self-help group women. So I used to go on these things. That's when I started reading law, trying to understand Indian IPC sections, law, and all these things. And then
that's because in your graduation you had done women's studies.
I had done women's studies, but when I did women's studies, I didn't think about it at all. I never paid attention to it. But later, I think I realized all the things through my practical life. So, and my friends during that time were all being politicized through this organization called Samvada.
Yeah.
So for me, that kind of a politicization didn't happen. I gained my politics only by living with people. So like at that point of time, I in 2000, early 2000, yeah. In 2000, I ended up living with Du Saraswati for 8 months, wherein she took me around all the areas where she worked. she introduced me to her work, and we had this whole thing. So basically, Amma had shifted into a new area, and then I didn't want to go there because of relatives, and I wanted to stay out, and also the relationship between Amma and me was also slightly strained because I was getting into activism more seriously. She thought I was getting distracted, and I have to prove to Amma. My biggest problem was to prove to Amma that I'm practicing and I'm into music 24 hours. But I mean, she had. Which is exactly why I hate people who come back and ask me, "Are you still singing?" I feel like slapping them, saying, "Are you breathing still?" Because this is you kind of make a child of 9 years jump into music, who practices 10 hours music every day, and then gets into music so seriously. And after a point, if somebody takes a break, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Like, why not people stop singing? It's okay, no? And second thing, why do we have to take music seriously only for commercial performance? What does it mean to make music part of your life? Because you breathe in, breathe out. Similarly, music should be with you.
Yeah, but I ever heard you practicing in the morning, Sumo. When I come and stayed with your mother, yeah, I've seen you practicing in the morning. Nobody asked you, but you used to get up and practice because you wanted to.
Yeah.
You know.
And it becomes a routine, like how you brush your teeth, the same way you practice.
I don't think anybody has the right to ask you, are you still singing?
Yeah. So, and then that is the way that I really got, and then I used to be with all these friends.
Yeah.
And these people introduced me to the life around. One thing hit me very strongly. My teacher very clearly told me once, if your music does not have life in it, the life that you see around in it, including the poverty, then your music is not complete.
This
Ramrao ji, very clearly he said, because he comes from extreme poverty. His, I mean, like, I think he had his own understanding of politics or something. He always talked to me about poverty. He talked to me about caste in an indirect manner, and then he always, and also through his sharing about histories, in that how much he talked about women. Like in one incident, like he and another friend of him, they were like enamored by Begum Akhtar's beauty. So once they, and how the history gets revealed, you just look into it. So they were in Baroda. There was going to be a concert in Ahmedabad. So these two people traveled from Baroda to Ahmedabad to listen to Begum Akhtar. Why? Because she is very beautiful. So when they reached there, they were excited and all that. So then they didn't expect that a slightly middle-aged Begum Akhtar would come. So the moment the middle-aged Begum Akhtar came on stage, they still thought that, oh my God, she's still so stunningly beautiful, my God, and all that was happening in their minds. Moment she started singing, their eyes closed. There was no more beauty. It was only the sound and sound design beauty. Which this is exactly how he shared that entire incident to me. Which means, here we are talking about how these Tawaif women or these performing women, how they had to have the struggle of transcending their beauty or no beauty or whatever kind of body shape to attract people to their music. So, which means what kind of skill they were trained into and how emotionally could they convey this.
It took the audience beyond what they were physically.
Yeah, what they are physically also. So, then he tells me that I came back I was filled with music. I came back filled with music. Now also I only remember the voice, so I don't remember the picture. This is how history gets revealed in each story.